Pausing is something that's not necessarily introduced in many rhythm games, but the option to do so seems to slide its way into a few. Some people think pausing is an inherently bad thing for the game and promotes poor play or habits and is simply unbalanced overall. Others argue that if it's part of the game, they should deal with it, but in other cases, people will justify pausing as a means to prevent certain factors such as nerves, stamina, and injuries from happening as much. In this video, I'm going to be addressing why I think pausing is not viable in a competitive environment and why it should disqualify any ranked score in a rhythm game. If you are a casual player and don't necessarily hold a competitive stance on rhythm games, this video is probably not for you, as this will address why pausing lacks the ability to be fair on a competitive level, either via leaderboards or even posting scores online to a certain extent. This video will be using Osu since it is the easiest game to exemplify and is the most common suspect of this issue. The same principles can be applied for other rhythm games still, especially with the upcoming development of Quaver. With this said, here are some reasons why I think pausing is unfair and why it also hurts the players overall as well. When someone creates a stamina-oriented song in a rhythm game, they do it with the intention of it being relatively tiring and serves the purpose of it not being easy to score well on in some instances. If a rhythm game has pausing in it, this defeats the entire purpose of the song being stamina-oriented anymore. Even though I would prefer games to have no pausing regarding ranked scores, a limit to how long you can pause for before resuming the song would at the very least put all players on some sort of level playing field. Instead, it leaves an unlimited and arbitrary amount of time you can pause during a section of the song that is already intended to be a break in the first place. Pausing more or less negates the fact that stamina songs even exist, since you can hypothetically finish any song in any amount of time you deem necessary with the access of pausing. Overall, pausing leaves scores on stamina songs extremely subjective, making it hard to judge how good the score actually is, while simultaneously hurting the player from properly developing stamina if they develop the habit to pause when they become tired. This is probably one of the weaker arguments I've heard from people that defend pausing. Imagine playing in the middle of a Smash Brothers match and you want to pause in the middle of the match to shake off all of the nerves you currently have. You can technically pause, unless it's turned off, but you're going to be penalized in the end and put yourself at a severe disadvantage of losing the game, or in some cases you will lose the game. While it's a different genre of game, it still illustrates the point quite well. Overcoming nerves is one of the obstacles that require a player to flourish and get good scores, but pausing seems to take away the naturality of getting a score you worked hard for, and makes it much less genuine in the end. Also, if you are getting nervous to the point where it's provoking health-related symptoms such as anxiety, it's probably not in a player's best interest to risk their health in such a manner by playing a song at that magnitude consistently. Injuries in rhythm games are something to be taken very seriously, as it can impede performance significantly or prevent the player from returning to the game permanently. People have addressed that with the ability to pause, players can take a break from the song whether they simply take their hands off the keyboard or mouse for a few extra seconds to take a breather, or in this case, when their hands begin to hurt in some way. If a player is playing to the point where the physical pain they are enduring is enough to make a player stop in the part of a song that is already intended as a break, the player should probably not be playing stuff that out of their range to begin with, and should overall revise their stamina, technique, or amount of time they play per session. Creating a competitive environment where players are convinced it is okay to pause is unhealthy for any competitive rhythm game in my opinion. Not only does it hurt players, but it also creates a non-genuine way of playing the game, as there is no central ground for anyone to play on anymore. Frankly, I never understood how a game like Osu manages to overlook that people can more or less cheat their way through scores through pause abuse, even if not every single player is doing it. It's still a concern worth addressing, and the fact that developers have never even issued anything regarding pausing baffles me to this day. My guess is that developers are more concerned with keeping their games accessible to newcomers instead of making the competitive scene more balanced, but that's just from mere speculation. In a game where everyone is playing the same set of notes in a song, players should be expected to play on an equal ground and should not have the luxury of taking arbitrary breaks through songs that put players in an uncomfortable situation. I'd love to hear your guys' comments below, and we'll maybe even do a follow-up video if I get enough interesting takes on this. Be sure to check out my Sellout links below. I'll see you all in whatever video I upload next, and take care.